Have you ever felt like the odds were completely against you? Like the challenges in front of you were just too big to overcome? That's exactly how David felt when he stood face to face with Goliath, a giant who seemed unstoppable. Imagine this. You're standing in a valley staring up at a towering figure 9 feet tall, covered in armor, carrying weapons that could crush anyone who dared to fight him. And yet there's a young boy, barely more than a teenager, stepping forward to face him. How did he do it? What gave him the courage to stand up to something so much bigger than himself? Today I'm going to show you how David defeated Goliath and how you can use the same principles to face your own giants. Let's go back thousands of years to a valley in ancient Israel, where two armies stood on opposing hills, locked in a tense standoff. On one side were the Philistines, a fierce and powerful people known for their military prowess. On the other side were the Israelites, God's chosen people. But at this moment, they were trembling with fear. Between them lay a valley, and in that valley stood Goliath, a towering warrior over 9 feet tall, covered in heavy bronze armor, wielding a massive spear and sword. Every morning Goliath would march into the valley and taunt the Israelites, shouting insults and mocking their cowardice. Imagine this scene. Goliath was not just physically imposing, he was a symbol of terror. His voice boomed across the valley as he shouted, "Why don't you send out a man to fight me? If I win, you'll become our slaves. If you win, we'll become yours." But no one stepped forward. The Israelite soldiers were frozen with fear. They saw Goliath's size, his armor, his weapons, and they thought, "There's no way we can win." Day after day, this went on, with Goliath growing more arrogant and the Israelites growing more desperate. Enter David. He wasn't even supposed to be there. He was just a teenager, sent by his father Jesse to deliver food to his older brothers who were fighting in the army. When David arrived at the battlefield, he was shocked by what he saw. The entire army, the same army that had fought countless battles and seen God's miraculous power, was paralyzed by fear. David couldn't believe it. How could an entire army cower before one man? But David didn't just see Goliath as a giant. He saw him as an insult to God, to Israel, and to everything he believed in. Goliath wasn't just taunting the Israelites. He was defying the God of Israel. And that's when something stirred inside David. He said to himself, "Who is this uncircumcised Philistine that he should defy the armies of the living God?" David's heart burned with indignation, but also with faith. He believed that God was greater than any giant, and he decided right then and there that he would step forward to fight Goliath. Not because he thought he was strong enough, but because he believed in something bigger than himself. When David told his brothers and the other soldiers that he wanted to fight Goliath, they laughed at him. They said, "What are you doing here? Who do you think you are? You're just a boy." Even King Saul, when he heard about David's plan, was skeptical. Saul said, "You're too young and inexperienced. How can you possibly stand against a warrior like Goliath?" But David didn't back down. Instead, he shared a story from his life as a shepherd, a story that revealed his faith and courage. David explained, "Your Majesty, I've faced giants before. Not human giants, but lions and bears. When I was tending my father's sheep, predators would come to attack the flock. One time, a lion came and carried off a lamb. I chased it down, struck it, and rescued the lamb from its mouth. Another time, a bear attacked the flock, and I did the same thing. If God could help me defeat those wild animals, surely he can help me defeat Goliath." David's words weren't just a boast. They were a testimony of his faith. He wasn't relying on his own strength, he was relying on God. Saul reluctantly agreed to let David fight, but he tried to prepare him for battle by giving him armor and a sword. The problem was, David had never worn armor before. It was heavy, clunky, and uncomfortable. He tried walking around in it, but it felt unnatural. So David took it off. Instead, he picked up his sling, a simple weapon he had used countless times as a shepherd, and 5 smooth stones from a nearby stream. That's all he needed. Now, imagine this moment. David walks onto the battlefield, a young boy with nothing but a sling and a pouch of stones. The entire valley falls silent as everyone watches. Goliath looks down at David and laughs. He says, "Am I a dog, that you come at me with sticks?" He curses David and threatens to kill him. But David doesn't flinch. He looks up at Goliath and says, "You come against me with sword and spear, but I come against you in the name of the Lord Almighty, the God of the armies of Israel, whom you have defied. This day the Lord will deliver you into my hands, and I will strike you down." Goliath sneers at David, thinking this is some kind of joke. After all, how could a boy with a sling possibly defeat a warrior like him? But David knows something Goliath doesn't. He knows that this isn't just a physical battle, it's a spiritual one. David's confidence isn't in his own strength, it's in God's power. And that's what makes all the difference. As David approaches Goliath, he reaches into his pouch, takes out a stone, and slings it with perfect aim. The stone flies through the air, striking Goliath in the forehead, the only part of his body not covered by armor. The giant falls to the ground, stunned. David runs to him, takes Goliath's own sword, and cuts off his head. The Philistine army, seeing their champion defeated, flees in terror, and the Israelites win the battle. But here's what makes this story so powerful. David didn't defeat Goliath because he was stronger or better equipped. He defeated Goliath because he saw something others didn't. While everyone else focused on Goliath's size and strength, David saw vulnerability. He saw an opportunity where others saw impossibility. David understood that Goliath's greatest strength, his size and armor, was also his greatest weakness. Because of his size, Goliath was slow and cumbersome. Because of his arrogance, he underestimated David. And because of his reliance on physical strength, he failed to recognize the power of faith. This is a lesson we can all learn from David. In our own lives, we often face giants, challenges that seem insurmountable. But like David, we need to see our giants for what they really are. Maybe your giant is fear, and its weakness is action. Maybe your giant is doubt, and its weakness is faith. The key is to shift your perspective and trust in something bigger than yourself. David's victory wasn't just physical, it was mental and spiritual. Before he ever stepped onto the battlefield, he had already won the battle in his mind. He believed in something bigger than himself. He trusted that God was with him, even when the odds seemed impossible. And that belief gave him the courage to act. David proved that even the smallest person can defeat the biggest giant when they have faith, perspective, and courage. Now let's bring this into the modern world. What are your giants? Is it fear of failure? A toxic relationship? Financial struggles? Or maybe it's self-doubt, telling you that you're not good enough. Whatever your giant is, here's the truth. It's not the size of the giant that matters. It's the size of your faith and determination. Think about it. Goliath was physically strong, but he was also arrogant. He underestimated David because he judged him by his appearance. And that's often how our giants work. They seem invincible, but they have weaknesses. Maybe your giant is fear, and its weakness is action. Maybe your giant is doubt, and its weakness is faith. The key is to see your giants for what they really are, and then take bold steps to confront them. But here's something even deeper to consider. Giants aren't just external challenges. They can also be internal battles. Sometimes the biggest obstacles we face are within ourselves. It could be limiting beliefs, like thinking you're not smart enough, talented enough, or worthy enough. It could be fear of rejection or failure. These internal giants can feel just as overwhelming as any external challenge. But just like David, you have the power to defeat them, not through brute force, but through perspective, faith, and action. David didn't win because he was stronger or better equipped. He won because he saw the truth. Goliath's size wasn't his strength, it was his vulnerability. In the same way, when you face your giants, ask yourself, what am I missing? What's the hidden opportunity in this challenge? Often, the things that seem like weaknesses, your lack of experience, resources, or support, can actually become your greatest strengths if you approach them with the right mindset. So, how can you apply David's lesson to your life today? Here are 3 powerful practical steps to help you face your giants with courage and purpose. Step 1. Change your perspective. The first step is to change your perspective. Instead of focusing on how big your giant is, focus on how strong your purpose is. Ask yourself, why am I fighting this battle? What's at stake if I give up? When you connect your struggle to a greater purpose, you'll find the strength to keep going. Let me give you an example. Imagine you're trying to start a business, but every door seems to close in your face. You might feel like the odds are against you, but if you zoom out and remind yourself why you started, whether it's to provide for your family, pursue a passion, or make a difference, you'll find the motivation to push forward. Purpose gives you clarity. It helps you see the bigger picture and reminds you that your efforts matter. Changing your perspective also means reframing your challenges. Instead of seeing obstacles as roadblocks, see them as stepping stones. Every time you face a setback, ask yourself, what can I learn from this? How can this make me stronger? David didn't see Goliath as an unbeatable foe. He saw him as an opportunity to prove his faith. In the same way, you can turn your challenges into opportunities for growth. Step 2. Take action despite fear. The second step is to take action despite fear. David didn't wait for the perfect moment. He acted in spite of his fear. You don't need to have everything figured out to take the first step. Whether it's starting a new project, ending a toxic relationship, or pursuing a dream, take one small step today. Action builds momentum. Here's the truth. Fear will always be there. It's a natural part of facing any challenge. But fear doesn't have to control you. Think about David. He must have felt fear standing in front of Goliath. After all, he was just a boy facing a seasoned warrior. But instead of letting fear paralyze him, he used it as fuel. He focused on his faith and took action. So, how do you take action despite fear? Start small. Break your challenge into manageable steps. For example, if you're afraid of public speaking, start by practicing in front of a mirror or with a small group of friends. If you're trying to overcome financial struggles, create a simple budget and stick to it. Small wins build confidence and momentum. Remember, progress is more important than perfection. Every step you take brings you closer to defeating your giant. Step 3. Trust in something bigger than yourself. The third step is to trust in something bigger than yourself. David trusted in God, but you can trust in whatever gives you strength, your faith, your values, your community. Surround yourself with people who believe in you and lean on your inner resilience. Remember, you're never alone in this fight. Trusting in something bigger than yourself doesn't mean ignoring your role in the battle. It means recognizing that you don't have to carry the weight of the world on your shoulders. For David, his trust in God gave him the courage to face Goliath. For you, it could be trusting in your own abilities, your support system, or a higher purpose. Whatever it is, let it guide you and give you strength. One way to build trust is through gratitude. When you focus on what you already have, your skills, your relationships, your past victories, you shift your mindset from scarcity to abundance. Gratitude reminds you that you're capable of overcoming challenges. It also helps you stay grounded when things get tough. David didn't go into battle alone. He carried the faith of his people and the promises of God with him. In the same way, surround yourself with reminders of your strength and purpose. Finally, remember that trust is built through action. The more you act in alignment with your values and purpose, the more you'll trust yourself to handle whatever comes your way. Trust isn't passive, it's active. It's choosing to move forward even when the path isn't clear. Conclusion. So, here's my challenge to you. Identify your giant, the thing that's been holding you back, and decide today that you're going to face it. Maybe it's fear, maybe it's doubt, or maybe it's something else entirely. Whatever it is, remember this. Giants aren't unbeatable. They're just waiting for someone brave enough to stand up to them. If this message resonated with you, leave a comment below sharing your giant and how you're going to face it. And don't forget to subscribe for more stories that will inspire you to live with courage and purpose. Together, let's learn how to face our giants and win.